beautiful auctioneer is suspected of insurance fraud and murder. An insurance investigator looks into her, unaware that the case involves several of the auctioneer's ex-boyfriends. The investigator himself becomes captivated by this auctioneer, sinking deeper and deeper. As the nation's top art auctioneer, Seol-ah possesses a captivating appearance and a keen intuition. Today, Seol-ah has just concluded a successful auction, driving a famous painting to its highest price and capturing everyone's attention. After the auction ends, the man who bid the high price for the painting comes to see Seol-ah. The man is Jun Beom, the CEO of an IT company. Strangely, Jun Beom exudes a vaguely dangerous aura. When shaking hands, he seems to deliberately caress the back of Seol-ah's hand. At that moment, the assistant auctioneer approaches, interrupting their conversation. Seol-ah takes the opportunity to excuse herself. Jun Beom tries to stop her, but is blocked by Assistant Kim. Assistant Kim hands Jun Beom his business card. Jun Beom, however, with a dark look in his eyes, crumples the card and throws it on the ground, rebuking the assistant for his inappropriate interruption. Later, in the dressing room, Seol-ah expresses dissatisfaction with Assistant Kim's smell of alcohol, emphasizing that as an auctioneer, he should learn to respect clients. Assistant Kim neither apologizes nor backs down. Instead, he threatens to push Seol-ah, the chief auctioneer, off the stage. Assistant Kim has always harbored jealousy towards Seol-ah. After revealing his intentions, he makes a phone call that night to a man named Woo-seok, stating he wants to report an insurance fraud case. He claims someone committed murder to claim a huge insurance payout and promises to tell everything he knows. Woo-seok used to be a detective. Now he is an investigator for an insurance company, specializing in insurance fraud cases. He is considered the top ace in the industry. For Woo-seok, acts of harming others for insurance money are unforgivable. A few days ago, a man, trying to fraudulently claim industrial accident insurance, tricked a factory worker into deliberately causing a workplace injury. Afterwards, Woo-seok confronted the man and showed no mercy, giving him a severe beating. However, deep down, Woo-seok is kind and soft-hearted. A woman repeatedly harmed her own daughter to claim insurance benefits, but the incompetent police closed the case as an accident. Witnessing the girl's miserable state, Woo-seok berated the woman for being unworthy of being a mother and swore he would personally send her to prison. What haunts Woo-seok the most is his sister's death. Several years ago, his sister died in a car accident. Woo-seok suspected her boyfriend deliberately caused the crash because, while looking at his sister's body, the boyfriend revealed a sinister smile, as if his wish had been granted. Sure enough, Woo-seok soon discovered his sister had purchased personal accident insurance, with the boyfriend as the beneficiary. Unfortunately, due to lack of evidence, the boyfriend escaped legal punishment. But to this day, Woo-seok has never forgotten his sister's death. He vows to bring all those demons who trade lives for money to justice. Tonight, after receiving Assistant Kim's tip-off call, Woo-seok arrives at the appointed auction company. Strangely, Assistant Kim keeps ignoring his calls. Just then, a loud crash comes from above. Woo-seok looks up and sees a woman has fallen to her death. The woman's phone displays an incoming call from Woo-seok. Shocked, Woo-seok realizes the dead woman is Assistant Kim. The police immediately launch an investigation. The coroner confirms Assistant Kim died from organ failure caused by multiple fractures. The initial assessment suggests possible suicide. However, tiny bleeding points are found inside her mouth, indicating someone might have choked her before the fall. Woo-seok is also convinced there is more to Assistant Kim's death. A woman intent on suicide would not have called him with a tip-off just an hour before her death. To uncover the truth, Woo-seok visits the auction company, where Assistant Kim worked. Driven by curiosity, he enters a room filled with art pieces. As Woo-seok is looking around, the lights in the room suddenly go out. In the dimness, the sound of high heels echoes. From the corridor, Seol-ah, dressed in a black dress, approaches gracefully, appearing opposite Woo-seok. She pauses in front of a kinetic art piece. Woo-seok gazes intently at the woman across from him. He watches her, seeming lost in thought, adjusting her hair and clothes. Her cold, icy face seems to hold unfathomable emotions, her eyes revealing an indescribable darkness. As the lights come back on, Seol-ah leaves. Woo-seok walks over to the painting she was viewing, wondering what that woman had been thinking. Seol-ah goes to meet the chairman. The chairman is troubled by the disruption. Assistant Kim's death has caused the company. Seol-ah promises the chairman she will handle the matter discreetly. Later, the police arrive for investigation. Facing the officer's questions, Seol-ah's responses are exceptionally calm and flawless. She claims she knows nothing about Assistant Kim's personal life outside of work. The police hope Seol-ah can provide the guest list for the auction. Seol-ah refuses, stating the list is confidential and cannot be disclosed. Even when faced with the police's suspicion of murder, Seol-ah remains extremely composed, telling them to obtain a search warrant first. Her cooperation, she says, can only go so far for now. However, after seeing the officers out, Seol-ah rushes to the bathroom to take medication. The panic on her face starkly contrasts with her earlier composure. Meanwhile, Woo-seok investigates the auction company's internal layout. He discovers the emergency stairwell leading to the rooftop where the fall occurred has no surveillance cameras. Overhearing a conversation between two former police colleagues, Woo-seok seeks information about the case from his former team leader, the very person who handled his sister's accident years ago. Woo-seok still harbors resentment towards him. When the team leader refuses to help, Woo-seok hints at knowing about his involvement in bribery. The team leader flies into a rage, almost attacking Woo-seok in public. Before leaving, he instructs his junior not to leak any investigation details to the insurance company. The junior, however, disobeys and shares several clues with Woo-seok. The investigation reveals Assistant Kim had been undergoing long-term treatment for depression, supporting the possibility of suicide. Learning that the chief auctioneer cooperated with the police questioning today, Woo-seok immediately looks up her profile online. He discovers she is the mysterious woman he saw pausing before the painting. The internet is full of praise for Seol-ah's auctioneering skills, yet Woo-seok begins to harbor suspicion towards this woman. Soon after, Woo-seok attends Assistant Kim's funeral and notices Seol-ah is also present. At the funeral, Woo-seok overhears conversations among auctioneers. He learns that the auction company's director had promised to let Assistant Kim replace Seol-ah as chief auctioneer. Hearing this, Woo-seok's suspicion of Seol-ah deepens. After the funeral, Seol-ah's car key malfunctions. Woo-seok seizes the opportunity to help her fix it. Before leaving, he deliberately suggests that if they happen to meet again, she can return the favor. Driving away, Seol-ah watches Woo-seok in her rearview mirror, seemingly aware that this man's intentions are not good. Woo-seok keenly notices her gaze. With growing suspicion, Woo-seok logs into the insurance company's system and enters Seol-ah's name. The system reveals that Seol-ah is indeed the beneficiary of an insurance policy, worth a total of 700 million won. Even stranger, 1 year later, the policyholder, a man named Yoon, suddenly canceled the contract with the insurance company. Woo-seok calls Yoon's family. To his surprise, the family informs him that Yoon has already passed away 10 days ago. That same night, Seol-ah watches a video. The video features her and Yoon. It turns out that Yoon was once Seol-ah's fiancé. In the footage, the two are trying on wedding clothes, looking sweet and happy. Yet, gazing at the seemingly beautiful images, Seol-ah's expression is utterly devoid of emotion, her eyes even hiding a cold trace of disgust and contempt. Woo-seok's investigation reveals Yoon was a VIP client of the company, having prepaid 200 million won in premiums. After canceling the contract, the 200 million was refunded to Yoon's account. Woo-seok deduces that Yoon's insurance case is likely the one Assistant Kim intended to report. Woo-seok asks his former police junior to investigate the details of Yoon's death. The junior confirms Yoon died in a yacht accident. Driven by immense curiosity, Woo-seok goes to the auction company to meet Seol-ah. He directly voices his suspicions. Seol-ah remains composed, stating she would not kill her fiancé for a mere 200 million won. Woo-seok does not believe her. His professional instinct tells him that both Yoon's drowning and Assistant Kim's fall are inextricably linked to the mysterious woman before him. The beautiful auctioneer is both charming and dangerous, captivating countless men and making them willingly take out huge insurance policies for her. However, behind each romantic relationship lies a dark, unknown secret. Through his investigation, Woo-seok suspects that both Assistant Kim's and Yoon's deaths are connected to Seol-ah. He believes the two deaths are linked to insurance fraud. As Seol-ah denies this, a man appears, stepping in front of her to protect her and rebuking Woo-seok for his harassment. Woo-seok senses that this man must also know Seol-ah's late fiancé, Yoon. He hands the man his business card, hoping he will get in touch. That night, Seol-ah and the man go to a bar. The man, Ah-hyuk, is Seol-ah's friend, and indeed knew Yoon. Woo-seok's appearance as an insurance investigator unsettles Ah-hyuk, making him begin to doubt Seol-ah. He recalls a conversation they had before Yoon's death. Yoon was a restaurant owner, and his restaurant's logo was the ancient Greek female monster, the Siren, a mermaid who lures sailors with her song. At the time, Yoon had mentioned being curious about why sailors would sail towards the song, knowing the danger. For Yoon, his siren was Seol-ah. Although he had proposed to her, Yoon admitted he didn't truly know this woman. He could sense Seol-ah was always hiding something. Furthermore, Yoon had told Ah-hyuk that he had taken out life insurance, with Seol-ah as the beneficiary. Remembering this conversation, Ah-hyuk's mind begins to churn with doubt. Woo-seok continues to focus his suspicion on Seol-ah. One day, Seol-ah visits the home of the deceased assistant Kim to deliver her office belongings to her mother. Coincidentally, Woo-seok had arrived earlier. The mother invites them both into her daughter's room. There, Woo-seok discovers a business card and secretly pockets it. Seol-ah notices some calendar pages covered in markings. She realizes the notes detail her own daily schedule from business trips to client meetings. Every single day's activity had been recorded by Assistant Kim. It was clear Assistant Kim had been deliberately observing Seol-ah's every move. Later, in front of Assistant Kim's mother, Woo-seok intentionally questions Seol-ah, specifically mentioning Assistant Kim's imminent promotion and asking if she had faced unfair treatment at work. Seol-ah remains composed, replying that she does not concern herself with employees' private matters. Assistant Kim's mother then recalls something suspicious. One night not long ago, her daughter had been crying heartbrokenly in her room. The reason, she understood, involved a man she was seeing. However, the mother does not know who her daughter's boyfriend was. As the mother speaks, Woo-seok keenly catches a fleeting look in Seol-ah's eyes, a glimmer of barely perceptible surprise. After leaving Assistant Kim's mother, Woo-seok continues to press Seol-ah, suggesting that her visit was to check for any overlooked clues that might expose her. With a gaze that is calm yet sharp, Seol-ah retorts that Woo-seok does not know who the real victim is in this entire story. Nevertheless, Woo-seok does not abandon his suspicion. He soon contacts his former police colleague again. The officer helps Woo-seok investigate Yoon's accident. The investigation confirms that only Yoon was on the yacht at the time of the incident, and the cause of death was indeed drowning. However, the officer points out that while the case itself is not unusual, Seol-ah's reaction was, Seol-ah had come to identify the body, yet as Yoon's fiancé, upon seeing her lover's severely damaged corpse, she did not even blink. Enlarging the video footage, Woo-seok frowns. On the screen, Seol-ah's expression at that moment looks complex and unreadable. Seol-ah, too, is reminiscing about her fiancé. She thinks back to a romantic time they shared on the yacht, the very same yacht where he would later die. It was on that yacht that her fiancé told her he had canceled the insurance policy. Yet, lost in these memories, Seol-ah heartlessly throws away mementos of her fiancé into the trash. Seol-ah may appear icy, but she is skilled at disguise. The chairman of the auction company treats Seol-ah to an expensive fish dinner. He appreciates her gesture of visiting Assistant Kim's mother, believing it has mitigated negative fallout for the company. Additionally, the chairman seems genuinely concerned about Seol-ah, mentioning her fiancé's accident and chiding her for not telling him sooner. Seol-ah obediently plays along, eating the fish the chairman puts in her bowl. But later, in the bathroom, she vomits it all out. Her expression shifts from the earlier compliance back to coldness and disdain. Woo-seok goes to the restaurant with the Siren logo. He inquires about Yoon with the manager and also asks about Assistant Kim, showing her photo. The manager confirms the woman frequented the restaurant but did not seem close to the owner, Yoon. In fact, Yoon appeared not to like her. The manager also reveals that Assistant Kim's last visit was the day before Yoon's accident. That night, she waited until the restaurant closed, insisting on meeting and talking with Yoon. Combining this with the manager's account, Woo-seok grows more certain that there must be a connection between Assistant Kim and Yoon. Later, driven by suspicion, Woo-seok visits the scene of Yoon's accident. He replays the deaths of both Yoon and Assistant Kim in his mind, repeatedly. Though the methods differ, he senses an yin-and-yang common thread between the two cases. Just then, his former police team leader approaches. The team leader bluntly states Woo-seok's suspicion. Yoon's death occurred just 10 days after his meeting with Assistant Kim. Such a close time frame can hardly be dismissed as coincidence. However, the team leader also disapproves of Woo-seok's involvement, reminding him that neither case involves an insurance payout. Woo-seok retorts, targeting the team leader who mishandled his sister's case, emphasizing that he cannot be both incompetent and at peace with himself. That night, Woo-seok meets Seol-ah at the bar again. He brings up the fact that assistant Kim met with Yoon the day before his accident, suggesting they might have been having an affair. If that were true, Seol-ah would have a strong motive. Leaving the affair aside, Woo-seok once again mentions the insurance money. He reveals that assistant Kim contacted him before she died. He believes the fraud case she intended to report must involve Seol-ah. Seol-ah responds logically, stating she never received any insurance payout. But Woo-seok abruptly changes tack and directly accuses her. Did she kill her fiancé and assistant Kim? Unexpectedly, Seol-ah's only reply is a mysterious smile. However, the situation soon takes a sharp turn. Woo-seok's investigation reveals that besides Yoon's case, Seol-ah is also the beneficiary of another insurance policy. This policyholder is Dr. Choi, a psychiatrist. Even more coincidentally, Dr. Choi also died under certain circumstances. The policy shows Dr. Choi had purchased whole life insurance. If he died, Seol-ah, as the beneficiary, would receive 500 million won. Equally unusual, just like her fiancé Yoon, Dr. Choi had strangely canceled the insurance policy before his death. In other words, in both instances, Seol-ah did not receive the substantial payouts she was supposedly entitled to. With these questions, Woo-seok visits the hospital where Dr. Choi worked. A nurse there tells him that Seol-ah once suffered from depression. It was during her treatment that she and Dr. Choi met. Furthermore, the nurse mentions that before Dr. Choi and Yoon, Seol-ah had another relationship with an employee of an international organization. More bizarrely, this unknown predecessor died in a terrorist attack in Syria. Woo-seok is deeply shocked. All three of Seol-ah's consecutive ex-boyfriends had died, each in a different way. Tonight, Seol-ah is viewing a painting about the war in Syria. Woo-seok breaks into the company to confront her again. His investigation confirms that the predecessor who died in Syria had also taken out a huge insurance policy, which was abruptly canceled. 3 ex-boyfriends, 3 terminated insurance contracts, 3 deaths, 3 relationships. Seol-ah seemingly gained nothing. Yet Woo-seok concludes, falling in love with Seol-ah means losing your life. As his words hang in the air, Seol-ah rises and slowly approaches Woo-seok. With an ambiguous tone, she asks him who the next man to fall for her will be. Facing Seol-ah's intense gaze, for a moment, Woo-seok finds himself struggling to maintain his composure. A beautiful woman is cold and seductive. Her 3 ex-boyfriends died one after another. Facing the questioning of an insurance investigator, the beautiful woman tries to seduce him again. Woo-seok investigates and discovers that not only did Seol-ah's 3 ex-boyfriends die one after another, but they also all canceled their insurance contracts before their deaths. As the beneficiary of the policies, Seol-ah gained nothing financially. Yet despite this, Woo-seok still suspects Seol-ah. Indeed, after the policies were canceled, Seol-ah seemingly got nothing. But perhaps canceling the policies itself was to cover up another secret. Most importantly, Woo-seok doesn't believe in coincidences. 3 coincidences piling up together make Woo-seok unable to relax his vigilance against this woman. Facing Woo-seok's questioning, Seol-ah's reaction remains extremely calm. She emphasizes that the Syrian airstrike that caused her ex-boyfriend's death couldn't possibly have been planned by her. Additionally, Seol-ah issues an ultimatum, warning that if Woo-seok continues to appear, she will file a formal complaint with his company. But Woo-seok refuses to give up. The more Seol-ah tries to avoid him, the more he will investigate to the end. The next day, a video is uploaded, showing a conversation between Seol-ah and assistant Kim before her death. In the video, assistant Kim eyes Seol-ah's position as chief auctioneer covetously and threatens to expose Seol-ah's secret. As the video spreads within the auction company, Seol-ah's situation becomes increasingly unfavorable. The director, who has always targeted Seol-ah, takes the opportunity to attack her. But Seol-ah is long prepared. She produces photos and text messages of the director and assistant Kim having an affair. It turns out, assistant Kim was the director's mistress. Based on this relationship, the director promised to promote her to chief. Seeing Seol-ah and the director at loggerheads, the chairman proposes a condition. Whoever can find a certain famous painting and bring it to the company will be the company's first-in-line successor. Seol-ah immediately takes action. After contacting a foreign client, she learns that painting was reportedly won by a Korean entrepreneur. Seol-ah plans to find this entrepreneur, but that very night, Seol-ah receives a package. Opening it, Inside is a bottle of wine from Siren restaurant, with the name of her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Yoon, left on it. Seol-ah urgently chases outside. Unfortunately, the person who delivered the wine had already left. Because of this bottle of wine, Seol-ah's memories are pulled back to that yacht. She spends the entire night reminiscing about the time spent with her ex-fiancé Mr. Yoon and his death. The next day, the community manager helps check the CCTV, confirming that the wine was delivered by a courier from a certain company. Following the trail from the courier company, Seol-ah quickly finds the sender. It turns out to be her friend, Ah-hyuk. Seol-ah immediately meets Ah-hyuk to confront him, demanding to know if Ah-hyuk also suspects her. Ah-hyuk explains, this was a request from Mr. Yoon before he died. Before the incident, Mr. Yoon had told Ah-hyuk, if anything happened to him, he wanted Ah-hyuk to give this wine to Seol-ah. At that time, Mr. Yoon said, he had heard strange rumors. Although he deeply loved Seol-ah, he couldn't completely trust her. As they speak, Ah-hyuk's girlfriend arrives. The girlfriend seems jealous of the relationship between Seol-ah and Ah-hyuk. She brings up the wine incident, asserting that Seol-ah must have been fearful after receiving the wine, even asserting that Seol-ah came to confirm with Ah-hyuk because she has a guilty conscience. On the other side, the video of Seol-ah arguing with assistant Kim comes to Woo-seok's attention. Based on the recording time of the video, Woo-seok judges that before contacting him to report, assistant Kim first confronted Seol-ah. But the question is, who recorded this video? The police are also investigating Seol-ah. CCTV from the auction company confirms that before assistant Kim fell, she and Seol-ah got out of the elevator just minutes apart. It seems likely that after the argument broke out, Seol-ah chased assistant Kim to the rooftop. The problem is, there's no CCTV in the hallway, so Seol-ah's exact whereabouts are unknown. The team leader thinks of a crucial clue. After assistant Kim was murdered, a mysterious person contacted the police via a public phone, claiming assistant Kim's fall was a homicide. The team leader orders they must find this informant within the day. A former junior colleague leaks the investigation progress to Woo-seok. Woo-seok decides to help find this informant. They quickly follow the clues to the location of the public phone booth, and then successfully obtain footage from a nearby dashcam. The footage shows the person who called the police from the public phone that night was a woman. While investigating the woman's identity, Woo-seok tries to organize his thoughts. But for some reason, looking at Seol-ah's photo on the whiteboard, an image of Seol-ah with captivating eyes appears before Woo-seok's eyes. To investigate Seol-ah up close, Woo-seok applies to become the art insurance manager for the auction company, thus becoming a colleague working with Seol-ah. Seol-ah remains extremely calm, showing Woo-seok around the auction company. But during the process, Woo-seok's words have hidden meanings. He believes that as the chief auctioneer, Seol-ah must know the company's layout, the blind spots of the CCTVs, etc., inside out. Seol-ah doesn't reply. She just shows Woo-seok the art storage vault. Here, paintings worth trillions of won are stored, but Woo-seok's mind isn't on these artworks. Inside the vault, Woo-seok directly presses Seol-ah. He wants to know what the secret was that assistant Kim threatened to expose that night. Seol-ah still doesn't answer directly. Instead, she sees through Woo-seok's real purpose. She knows very well that Woo-seok suspects her but lacks evidence. That's why he used work as an excuse to come and get close to her. Woo-seok admits it and asks Seol-ah if she's decided who the next man is, the one she will seduce and then have killed. Seol-ah smiles without answering, but Woo-seok blocks her way. Unexpectedly, Seol-ah doesn't retreat but advances. She steps closer to Woo-seok, reminding him that there are CCTVs here. If he doesn't want to cause a misunderstanding, he should step aside. Woo-seok, outmaneuvered, has to back down for now. And watching Seol-ah's calm and composed figure as she leaves, Woo-seok's inner thoughts become even more confused. Seol-ah contacts a vice president of an art company. He reveals to her that the entrepreneur who bought the famous painting is the CEO of a certain startup. Seol-ah immediately searches for this CEO online and discovers it's a man named Jun Byum, whom she had met briefly once before at the auction company. Seol-ah contacts Jun Byum to meet. The location is a private viewing room within the auction company. Here, Seol-ah introduces several famous paintings to Jun Byum. Each one matches Jun Byum's artistic taste, especially a painting by a Syrian orphan. Jun Byum frankly says that for him, this painting feels like falling in love. After viewing the paintings, Jun Byum invites Seol-ah to dinner. During the meal, he introduces one of the dishes to her, Diao-chan tofu. It's said to be made by adding loaches and tofu to hot soup, trapping the loaches inside the tofu to be slowly cooked. Seol-ah knows that the tofu in the hot soup refers to Diao-chan, and he doesn't care who the loach is, suffocated by Diao-chan. She only finds Diao-chan with nowhere to hide, the most pitiful. Junbeom smiles slightly, seeming very satisfied with Seol-ah's interpretation. Seol-ah then brings up the painting, hoping Junbeom will entrust the painting to her to handle, promising to pay him a higher price than his winning bid. Hearing this, Junbeom stares intently at Seol-ah, hinting that he doesn't care about the money. What he wants is something else. Seol-ah responds that she will wait for Junbeom to state his conditions. Meanwhile, Woo-seok finds Assistant Kim's car in the parking lot and discovers a key card for a certain hotel inside. By mobilizing several delivery drivers previously involved in insurance fraud, Woo-seok successfully identifies the correct hotel among dozens with the same name. Then, using the found key card, he locates the hotel room Assistant Kim had used. Woo-seok enters the room to investigate. The room is empty, but on the balcony of the opposite building, a woman is standing. Looking closely, the woman is Seol-ah. Suddenly, Woo-seok is shocked. Seol-ah has just bathed, and on her back is a patch of scars unknown to anyone. At the same time, the police find the informant who used the public phone. The woman tells the police team leader that she saw everything. It was that woman who killed Assistant Kim. 3 ex-boyfriends died one after another in mysterious circumstances. A beautiful female auctioneer becomes the prime suspect. Unexpectedly, during the investigation, the beautiful woman becomes entangled in an emotional conflict with the investigator who suspects her. While tracking down Seol-ah's secret, Woo-seok discovers that before his fatal fall, Assistant Kim had long-term booked a certain hotel room, and opposite that room was actually Seol-ah's house. Shocked, Woo-seok realizes Assistant Kim's purpose in booking this room was to surveil Seol-ah. Driven by suspicion, Woo-seok searches the entire room thoroughly, finally finding a mobile phone inside a house model. At the same time, the police are interrogating the person who reported the incident. The reporter is an employee of the auction company, and also Hyok's younger sister, Hye. Hye tells the police that on the night of the incident, she personally saw Seol-ah running down frantically from the top floor stairs, and shortly after, Assistant Kim fell to his death. Because of this, Hye is convinced that Seol-ah killed Assistant Kim. Hye also asserts that Seol-ah is skilled at manipulating men, that any man who approaches her will be bewitched by her, including her own brother. The next day, Seol-ah hosts an auction. Unexpectedly, before the event ends, the police arrive on the scene and urgently arrest Seol-ah on suspicion of murdering Assistant Kim. Due to Hye's testimony, the police now consider Seol-ah a suspect in the murder case. Woo-seok witnesses Seol-ah being taken away. Later, he also sees an argument between Hyok and his sister Hye. Hyok blames his sister for reporting to the police on her own. Compared to his own sister, Hyok seems to care more about Seol-ah. The police are interrogating Seol-ah, demanding where she actually was at the time of the incident. Confronted with elevator CCTV evidence presented by the police, Seol-ah admits that she did go to the rooftop that night to find Assistant Kim. But when she arrived at the rooftop, Assistant Kim had already fallen to his death. She didn't disclose this, only because she was worried it would cause misunderstandings. The police, however, do not believe Seol-ah's account and demand she provide a solid alibi. Facing the police's aggressive questioning, Seol-ah falls silent and lets out a faint, cold smile, as if she already has a way to respond. And after seeing the news of Seol-ah's urgent arrest, Junbeom reveals a dark, sinister smile. No one knows what this man is thinking at that moment. Later, Hyok meets with Seol-ah alone, expressing that he absolutely believes in her and will do his best to help her get free. Seol-ah suddenly thinks of something and whispers a few words into Hyok's ear. Thanks to his past junior connections, Woo-seok gains entry to the interrogation room and personally witnesses Seol-ah communicating with Hyok, but has no way of knowing the specific content of their conversation. Tonight, Seol-ah is temporarily held in a detention cell on suspicion of murder. Hyok rushes back to the auction company, heading to the exhibition room. Unexpectedly, Woo-seok suddenly arrives, holding a memory card in his hand. It turns out that earlier, Woo-seok sought help from a lip-reading expert, who interpreted what Seol-ah had told Hyok. The content was an instruction for Hyok to check the footage in the exhibition room. Woo-seok is convinced that Seol-ah did this to have Hyok help her destroy evidence. However, the content on the memory card disappoints Woo-seok somewhat. The video footage on it proves that, at the exact time of Assistant Kim's fall, Seol-ah was passing by a wall of dynamic paintings, This is her strongest alibi. Consequently, Seol-ah is released. Yet Woo-seok persists, insisting that a woman like Assistant Kim wouldn't choose to die. Seol-ah replies, "There's no such thing as a type. There are only moments when one has no other choice." After that day, Seol-ah returns to the company like a queen, while Woo-seok continues to seek the truth amidst the fog. One day, Woo-seok gives the phone he took from Assistant Kim's hotel room to his hacker contact for processing. The contact discovers that the phone has spyware installed for eavesdropping and successfully cracks the recordings related to Seol-ah. Woo-seok listens carefully, one by one, and thereby begins to understand the Seol-ah he never truly knew. In one recording, Seol-ah votes in an apartment meeting to support converting the apartment's storage room into a lounge for security personnel, giving the security guards a proper place to eat from then on. This side of Seol-ah surprises Woo-seok. Driven by curiosity, Woo-seok observes the hotel room Assistant Kim had booked and finds the house model strange. There are two small figures on the model. One is a female announcer, the one next to her is clearly a doctor. Woo-seok recalls Assistant Kim's mother's words. Assistant Kim once worked at a broadcasting station and dreamed of becoming a glamorous female announcer. It said she left the station later due to a broken heart. Also, that day in Assistant Kim's car, Woo-seok found a parking receipt from a psychiatric hospital, and Seol-ah's second previous boyfriend was a psychiatrist. According to rumors, this doctor was so captivated by Seol-ah that he dumped his girlfriend. Combining these clues, Woo-seok forms a hypothesis. To verify it, Woo-seok contacts the nurse from the psychiatric hospital again and shows her Assistant Kim's photo. The nurse confirms that the girlfriend dumped by Seol-ah's ex, Dr. Choi, was indeed Assistant Kim. According to the nurse's recollection, after being dumped, Assistant Kim couldn't accept it and tried to win him back, but was cruelly rejected by Dr. Choi. The nurse also states that Dr. Choi loved Seol-ah deeply and, fearing losing her, never mentioned his attempts to win back his ex-girlfriend. Also, due to psychiatric regulations, doctors are prohibited from Sisa-jechu patients. To obtain the Seol-ah who haunted his dreams, Dr. Choi hastily terminated her therapy in only 2 months, making Seol-ah his lover, not his patient. Armed with these clues, Woo-seok goes to the auction company to see Seol-ah and reveals Assistant Kim's surveillance of her. Woo-seok deduces that Assistant Kim's motive stemmed from Dr. Choi. Originally, Assistant Kim dreamed of marrying Dr. Choi, but he was taken away by Seol-ah. Unable to accept it, Assistant Kim quit her announcer job and came to work at the auction company instead. Yet, despite all this, Woo-seok still suspects Seol-ah. He can't understand why Seol-ah's 3 previous boyfriends died one after another. What could Seol-ah possibly gain from their deaths? This time, Seol-ah faces the jury head-on, answering Woo-seok in a slightly sad tone that besides loss, she gained nothing. Unexpectedly, after saying this, Seol-ah suddenly faints. Woo-seok rushes her to the hospital. The doctor tells him that sedatives were detected in Seol-ah's system, suggesting long-term use. Woo-seok is puzzled. The moment he turns around, Seol-ah has vanished. At that moment, Seol-ah hides in the bathroom, applies lipstick in a panic, trying to force herself to calm down. Later, Seol-ah goes to Junbeom's company. Facing a painting on the wall depicting flames, Seol-ah's eyes are filled with terror, as if she's about to be dragged back to an unbearable past. Regarding Seol-ah's desire for a famous painting in his possession, Junbeom proposes a condition in exchange. He doesn't want money, he wants Seol-ah. Seol-ah flatly refuses, stating she doesn't do emotional transactions. Hearing this, Junbeom takes Seol-ah's hand and changes his tune, saying they can conduct business properly. Woo-seok continues listening to the recordings on the phone. There's a conversation between Seol-ah and a friend. The friend advises Seol-ah not to keep all the pain hidden inside, otherwise, she'll eventually break down. And Seol-ah's response mentions her parents' accident. Following this lead, Woo-seok goes to see Hyok. Hyok reveals to him that at the age of 15, Seol-ah's family died in an accident. A police junior helps investigate and finds out that back then, Seol-ah's family attempted arson to commit suicide, and only Seol-ah survived. After confirming this, Woo-seok's mindset gradually begins to change. He starts to think that perhaps he misunderstood Seol-ah, that perhaps Seol-ah is just a pitiful woman who keeps encountering misfortune. A few days later, Seol-ah attends the funeral of her fiancé, Yoon. But she is publicly berated by Yoon's mother, who blames her for causing her son's death. Yoon's younger brother also suspects Seol-ah. He remembers when Assistant Kim came to see Yoon, declaring that Yoon would eventually die at Seol-ah's hands, just like Dr. Choi. Seol-ah is powerless to defend herself. At that moment, Woo-seok steps forward, shielding Seol-ah from the brothers' accusations. During the funeral proceedings, Woo-seok follows Seol-ah to a cliff. Overwhelmed with grief, and in utter despair, she attempts to throw herself off. In that critical moment, Woo-seok pulls Seol-ah close. Seol-ah, nearly breaking down, asks Woo-seok what more he wants to know. Woo-seok, with reddened eyes, replies that he wants to know about Seol-ah herself, about the unfortunate woman willing to die to prove her innocence. An insurance investigator checks into a hotel suite. He spends the entire night monitoring a beautiful woman in the building across. He suspects her of murder and insurance fraud, but as events unfold, he finds himself feeling an uncontrollable pity and love for her. Yesterday, Seol-ah, who was under suspicion, had negative thoughts. At the critical moment, Woo-seok pulled Seol-ah back from the dangerous cliff edge. From now on, he wants to try to understand Seol-ah. After coming down the mountain, Woo-seok followed behind Seol-ah's car to protect her. Perhaps he hasn't realized it himself, but he has already fallen for this dangerous woman. Beyond Woo-seok, Jun Beom has begun confessing his feelings to Seol-ah. To pursue Seol-ah, Jun Beom wants to recruit her to his company as the art executive. He even promises to give her 5% equity and double her salary. However, Seol-ah flatly refuses Jun Beom. Witnessing Seol-ah's mysterious smile, Jun Beom realizes that Seol-ah staying at that auction company must have a purpose beyond money and status. To investigate the fire that killed Seol-ah's parents, Woo-seok goes to Seol-ah's hometown. He tries to find out the exact location of the fire, but is stopped by Ah-hyuk. Ah-hyuk tells Woo-seok that, to forget that painful memory, Seol-ah has made tremendous efforts. He hopes Woo-seok will stop reopening Seol-ah's scars, but Woo-seok refuses to back down, instead asking Ah-hyuk to tell him the story. Ah-hyuk agrees to slowly recount the past to Woo-seok. It was when Seol-ah was 15. Seol-ah's father was a poor painter. Due to financial hardship, he borrowed money from loan sharks. To collect the debt, the loan sharks used a hot electric iron to hurt Seol-ah's back. Ah-hyuk witnessed that scene firsthand. He saw Seol-ah gritting her teeth, enduring with all her might, bearing the torture without a sound. After that, Seol-ah's parents, in despair, conceived the idea of arson. As the sole survivor, Seol-ah witnessed her parents die in the fire. After hearing the story, Woo-seok's eyes reddened, and his sympathy for Seol-ah grew deeper. At night, Woo-seok goes to a bar run by Seol-ah's friend. The friend tells him, because she has suffered so much trauma, Seol-ah isn't good at opening up to people. She simply hides the pain deep inside. Thus, she is often misunderstood by others. The friend firmly believes Seol-ah is not the type of person to kill for insurance money. After her predecessor in Syria died, Seol-ah relied on medication to maintain her state. By the time her fiancé passed away recently, Seol-ah had already cried all her tears. The friend's account allows Woo-seok to understand Seol-ah more, his attitude towards Seol-ah shifting from suspicion to pity. Late at night, Woo-seok listens repeatedly to the recording of Seol-ah secretly made by Assistant Kim. It contains conversations between Seol-ah and her friend Ah-hyuk. In it, Seol-ah mentions that after her fiancé died, she often dreams of the pier where the accident happened. But because of Ah-hyuk and her friend's company, she is trying her best to hold on. Hearing this, Woo-seok, feeling sad, lets out a soft sigh. It seems he really misunderstood Seol-ah before. Seol-ah is right across in her hotel room. Woo-seok can't help but peek, starting to worry that Seol-ah might catch a cold. Seol-ah takes off her jacket, revealing a camisole nightgown. Seeing this, Woo-seok's gaze flusters, his heart uneasy, as if his soul has been captivated by that woman. The auction company is preparing an art exhibition. Unexpectedly, Ah-hyuk's younger sister, So-hae, deliberately breaks the main exhibit. In private, Seol-ah questions So-hae if it was intentional. So-hae admits it, but doesn't apologize and instead confronts Seol-ah. In So-hae's view, Seol-ah suspects she broke it deliberately but has no evidence, and she suspects Seol-ah killed her fiancé and Assistant Kim but lacks evidence. It's the same principle. However, Seol-ah doesn't dwell on So-hae's suspicions, only reprimanding So-hae for her disrespect towards the artwork. The company files an insurance claim for the broken artwork. Woo-seok, as the insurance investigator, arrives at the scene. After checking the monitors, he promises to help Seol-ah get the claim approved. The art exhibition date is the day after tomorrow. To resolve the exhibit issue, Seol-ah rushes out, but Woo-seok gets into her car regardless. In the car, Seol-ah mentions the hotel Woo-seok has been using to spy on her recently. It turns out, earlier, Seol-ah saw on Assistant Kim's calendar a note about signing a lease for a hotel suite. Last night, she also noticed Woo-seok leaving from that same room. Thus, she deduced Woo-seok's surveillance of her. While explaining himself, Woo-seok inwardly marvels at this woman's intelligence. After getting out of the car, they arrive at a glass-making workshop. The piece that was broken was by this glass artist. Seol-ah kneels before the artist to apologize, but the artist is uncompromising, demanding that the exhibition be cancelled. Seol-ah doesn't give up and continues to persuade, promising to spend the whole night helping the artist create an even better piece. The artist is persuaded and begins creating immediately. Seol-ah stays to help, and Woo-seok doesn't leave either, fetching materials for Seol-ah that she can't reach. The artist's creation requires fire. Witnessing the flames, Seol-ah has another panic attack. Seeing Seol-ah like this, Woo-seok feels heartbroken. Once Seol-ah calms down a bit, Woo-seok talks to her again. He doesn't quite understand Seol-ah now. Sometimes Seol-ah seems very strong, but other times, she seems like she could break at any moment. Additionally, Woo-seok feels guilty for suspecting Seol-ah before and apologizes to her. But because of this, he feels an even more urgent need to know why Seol-ah has faced repeated misfortunes. Facing Woo-seok, who finally chooses to believe her, Seol-ah, visibly moved, shares her suspicion. She suspects that perhaps a man, wanting to possess her, has killed her multiple previous partners. At night, Woo-seok returns home. His former junior police officer has come uninvited. The junior discovered the phone Assistant Kim used to spy on Seol-ah. Convinced that Woo-seok didn't submit the phone as evidence, the junior realizes Woo-seok, like those other men, has become obsessed with Seol-ah. Woo-seok defends himself, saying he just wants to find the truth. But the junior retorts, the reason Woo-seok desperately seeks the truth is because he hopes Seol-ah isn't the culprit. Nevertheless, the junior's warning makes Woo-seok see his own heart more clearly. He seems to be indeed captivated by Seol-ah. The next day, regarding Seol-ah's suspicion, Woo-seok offers his analysis. He believes, if such a man truly exists, he must know Seol-ah very well. To uncover the truth, someone needs to become Seol-ah's new boyfriend. Woo-seok volunteers. He's willing to be Seol-ah's new flame. If the murderer believes it, he will target Woo-seok, and the truth will be revealed. Seol-ah agrees to Woo-seok's plan and turns her gaze towards the man she suspects, Junbeom. Using work as a pretext, Seol-ah and Woo-seok go together to meet Junbeom. Aside from work, Junbeom invites Seol-ah to taste some red wine, but Seol-ah deliberately glances at Woo-seok for permission. Noticing this detail, a flash of displeasure crosses Junbeom's eyes. At Junbeom's place, Woo-seok spots the exclusive red wine from Siren restaurant, immediately becoming suspicious of Junbeom. He asks his hacker contact to dig up all information on Junbeom. While admiring paintings, Junbeom once again straightforwardly confesses his feelings to Seol-ah, stating that his feelings for her are very sincere. For Seol-ah, he is willing to give up his most beloved painting. Woo-seok interrupts their conversation. Seol-ah shows displeasure, stating that the more important purpose of visiting Junbeom's home today was work, but Woo-seok refuses to back down. To verify Seol-ah's suspicion of Junbeom, Woo-seok deliberately puts his arm around Seol-ah in front of Junbeom. Seol-ah goes further and actively kisses Woo-seok. In an instant, Woo-seok succumbs, dropping all defenses and engaging in a passionate kiss with Seol-ah. On the way back, replaying the kiss in his mind, Woo-seok's heart grows even more flustered. Meanwhile, having witnessed the woman he likes passionately kissing another man, jealousy burns in Junbeom's eyes, so much so that he smashes a glass in anger. However, soon, events take an unexpected turn for Woo-seok. He discovers an old medical insurance record. It shows that 2 months before the fire at Seol-ah's house, Seol-ah's parents had successively purchased life insurance. The beneficiary in both cases was Seol-ah. The total payout amounted to 200 million. Woo-seok brings the documents to Seol-ah, questioning her about the truth behind the fire back then, suspecting that Seol-ah knew her parents had bought the life insurance. Unexpectedly, facing Woo-seok's accusation, Seol-ah admits she did indeed kill her parents herself. a seductive and sinister beauty accused of killing her 3 exes. An insurance investigator delves into the case, only to find himself falling in love, sinking deeper and deeper. During his investigation, Woo-seok discovers that, before the fire at Seol-ah's house, her parents had successively taken out massive life insurance policies, with the sole beneficiary being their daughter, Seol-ah. Suspicious, Woo-seok presses Seol-ah for the truth about the fire back then. To his shock, Seol-ah admits that she herself set the fire that killed her parents to claim the insurance money. Overwhelmed with emotion, Woo-seok cannot believe it, demanding Seol-ah tell him the truth. Seol-ah responds with a sorrowful gaze, asserting that her previous confession was exactly what Woo-seok wanted to hear, believing that no one in this world trusts her anyway. Woo-seok's colleague, a fellow insurance investigator, is pleased he found new clues, but Woo-seok remains grim. He wishes that all the clues so far were just his own misjudgment. For Woo-seok, regarding Seol-ah, he has already fallen too deep, unable to extricate himself. Seol-ah meets with her friend, Ah-hyuk. She asks him why he stays by her side without hesitation. Ah-hyuk recalls the past. Many years ago, he and his sister were mistreated by their alcoholic father. It was Seol-ah who injured the father with a rock, rescuing the siblings, protecting Ah-hyuk. For Ah-hyuk, Seol-ah was his life's salvation. However, the nightmares of the past still haunt Seol-ah. One day, Seol-ah receives a text from a mysterious person. The content includes a photo of Seol-ah with her late ex-boyfriend, who died in Syria, along with several covertly taken photos of Seol-ah and Woo-seok. Seol-ah demands to know who the sender is, but the mysterious person replies, telling her to come to a certain warehouse. If she doesn't arrive within an hour, the whole world will know her secrets. Barely concealing her unease, Seol-ah rushes there. Woo-seok, sensing something wrong, follows her. Inside the warehouse, Seol-ah goes to the area specified by the mysterious person and finds a photo there. A picture of her and her fiancé Yoon on a yacht. The moment she sees the photo, Seol-ah is frozen with terror. Just then, Woo-seok catches up, spotting a mysterious figure in the corner watching Seol-ah. Suddenly, a storage box overhead is about to fall. Woo-seok rushes forward, shielding Seol-ah just as the box crashes down. From nearby, Junbeom arrives, seeing that Woo-seok has already played the hero. A flicker of jealousy appears once more in Junbeom's eyes. Seol-ah has a scraped palm. Junbeom is very attentive, having his secretary, a former nurse, bandage her up. Woo-seok examines the scene. Suspecting the falling box was no accident but intentional, he demands the warehouse staff disclose the client renting the storage unit. Junbeom makes the same request, but his presence arouses Woo-seok's suspicion. Junbeom explains he was considering signing a lease with this warehouse, planning to store his company's artwork there. Junbeom remains gentle with Seol-ah, offering to take her home himself. As Seol-ah declines, Woo-seok steps in as the protective guardian, stating he will be responsible for Seol-ah's safety. After leaving the warehouse, Seol-ah confronts Woo-seok, asking if he was following her. Woo-seok, his voice anxious, expresses his deep concern for her safety. Even though Seol-ah admitted to killing her parents, he still wants to believe her. Moved by Woo-seok's trust, Seol-ah decides to share what happened today, showing him the photos sent by the mysterious person. Woo-seok deduces that the mysterious person deliberately lured Seol-ah there to harm her, and his sudden appearance disrupted the plan. Woo-seok remains suspicious of Junbeom, believing his arrival at the warehouse was too coincidental. Hearing this, Seol-ah feels uneasy, worried that Junbeom might be watching her from somewhere. Arriving at the parking lot, they notice a car that seems to have followed them in. To test the person inside the car, Seol-ah invites Woo-seok to her place, curious to see how the mysterious person will react. At Seol-ah's house, alone together, Woo-seok appears somewhat flustered. His attention is caught by a bottle of wine from Siren restaurant. When Woo-seok asks about it, Seol-ah explains. The Siren wine label was personally designed by her fiancé, Yoon, and is sold exclusively at Siren restaurant. However, Woo-seok had seen the same bottle of wine at Junbeom's house. This implies Junbeom had been to Seol-ah's fiancé's restaurant. Seol-ah asks Woo-seok, "Aren't you afraid of me? Maybe I've been deceiving you all along. Perhaps I really did kill those men, including my parents." Woo-seok can't articulate a clear reason, but has a gut feeling that even if Seol-ah did something wrong, it must have been out of necessity. He believes the real wrongdoers aren't the children, but the adults. Gently comforted by Woo-seok, Seol-ah finally reveals the truth about the fire. That night, her mother gave Seol-ah some money, telling her to go watch the movie she had been wanting to see. Sensing something was off, Seol-ah turned back halfway. By the time she got home, her parents had already taken pills and spread oil on the floor. Seol-ah realized her parents intended to disguise the fire as an accident to claim the insurance money, using the payout to repay their massive debts. Understanding her parents' resolve, Seol-ah picked up a lighter on the floor and lit the fire. She had intended to die with them, but unexpectedly survived. For Seol-ah, the world she lived in alone was hell. Now, before Woo-seok, Seol-ah is filled with self-reproach, calling herself unfilial. Moved deeply, Woo-seok comforts her. The adult world is so cruel. Seol-ah, who was just a child then, wasn't the perpetrator, but a pitiful victim. Shedding sorrowful tears, with pity and an unspoken love, Woo-seok, unable to contain his feelings, steps forward and gently embraces the crying Seol-ah. At work the next day, Seol-ah asks a staff member to send her the list of contracts between the company and various warehouses. She discovers one of them is the warehouse the mysterious person had directed her to. Inquiring with the staff, she learns that warehouse unit is personally used by the auction house chairman and currently seems to have nothing stored in it. Suspicious, Seol-ah goes to meet the chairman. She manages to sneak a look at the email password he types. That night, Seol-ah tears up the photo sent by the mysterious person. The yacht picture of her and her fiancé. It seems she still harbors a secret she cannot tell. Lately, Woo-seok often visits Seol-ah at her company, asking her to lunch. Rumors about their relationship are circulating in the office. Though Seol-ah is aware of the gossip, she doesn't avoid it, instead accepting Woo-seok's lunch invitation, deliberately appearing close with him. Woo-seok asks about Jun Beom. Seol-ah recalls first meeting Jun Beom at an auction before Assistant Kim's incident. She didn't know him before that, but at the same time, Seol-ah senses that Jun Beom seemed to have known her already, as if he could see right through her. Woo-seok speculates, perhaps Jun Beom had been watching Seol-ah for a long time. If Jun Beom is the one who killed those men, then the motive would be only one. He wants to possess Seol-ah. A hacker friend helps Woo-seok investigate Jun Beom, finding that Jun Beom's life seems almost impossibly perfect. Handsome, tall, highly educated, and having made a fortune developing programs. Woo-seok notices one particular photo of Jun Beom, a group photo from some international organization. Woo-seok clearly remembers Seol-ah's late ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lee, who died in Syria, was a staff member of that organization. Meanwhile, a junior police officer visits the insurance company, instructing Woo-seok's department to halt their investigation into Seol-ah, handing everything over to the police. Woo-seok asks the junior officer why. In his eyes, Seol-ah is just an innocent victim. The junior officer disagrees, believing Woo-seok's judgment is clouded by his personal feelings. The next day, the rescue team leader from the organization returns to the country. Woo-seok contacts the team leader. To his surprise, the first words out of the team leader's mouth are, "Mr. Lee died because of Seol-ah." Woo-seok goes to pick him up from the airport. On the way, the team leader shares a lot. He mentions that although Jun Beom comes from a wealthy family, he cares for the underprivileged, having joined the organization since university, spending years volunteering overseas. Additionally, during the terror attack in Syria, it seems Jun Beom went there with Seol-ah's ex, Mr. Lee. Before the team leader can finish, a car suddenly veers directly towards them. To avoid the collision, Woo-seok and the team leader crash. In the night across the street, Seol-ah appears, wearing red high heels, like a witch. With an air of mystery, she slowly walks towards the severely injured Woo-seok. Beautiful women are skilled at manipulating men. They have captivated multiple high-quality men, making them utterly infatuated. However, until recently, the woman realized that she herself seemed to have become an easy target for a certain man. Just as she was about to touch the core secret of the case, Woo-seok was involved in a car accident. Fortunately, the accident wasn't too severe. Soon after, Woo-seok regained consciousness. Woo-seok's junior detective still suspected Seol-ah. This was because Seol-ah was also at the scene when the accident happened. Seol-ah didn't make excuses. Instead, she handed over her dashcam footage to the police. While cooperating with the police, Seol-ah hurried to the hospital. Currently, the rescue team leader who had been providing Woo-seok with information was still unconscious. Seol-ah overheard the conversation between Woo-seok and the junior detective. The junior detective still focused his suspicion on Seol-ah, convinced that Seol-ah must have an accomplice. Woo-seok strongly defended Seol-ah, asking, what would Seol-ah gain by killing him and the rescue team leader? Additionally, Woo-seok shared his suspicion about Jun Beom with the junior detective, hoping he would stop going down the wrong investigative path due to misunderstanding. Later, Woo-seok asked Seol-ah why she had appeared at the accident scene. Seol-ah told him honestly. The previous night, she had received a photo from a mysterious person, a picture of herself and her ex from Syria. To investigate the identity of the mysterious person, she went to the airport intending to meet the rescue team leader. But on the way, she saw Woo-seok's car and the mysterious person's vehicle following him. Worried, she turned around to follow them and ended up witnessing the accident scene and pulling Woo-seok out. Woo-seok shared his investigation progress with Seol-ah. It could now be confirmed that Jun Byum was a colleague of Seol-ah's ex, Soo-ho, at an international organization. When the terrorist attack happened in Syria years ago, the two had gone there together. Seol-ah deduced that the painting depicting the Syrian war was deliberately sent by Jun Byum. She also found it strange that if Jun Byum and Soo-ho were just ordinary colleagues, he wouldn't go to such lengths. Unfortunately, the rescue team leader was still unconscious, so the answers awaited confirmation. It was Seol-ah's birthday. A delivery person brought a bouquet of bellflowers. The sender was anonymous. Seeing the bellflowers, Seol-ah fell into a panic, because in the past, her Syrian ex, Soo-ho, had also given her the same flowers. Seol-ah opened the box attached to the flowers. Inside was Soo-ho's phone. The wallpaper was a sweet photo of them together. A colleague mistakenly thought the flowers were from Woo-seok and gossiped that the language of bellflowers is eternal love. Seol-ah stepped aside to turn on Soo-ho's phone. She found the last item in the photo album was a video Soo-ho had left for her. In the video, Soo-ho, who had just broken up with Seol-ah, was on the verge of a breakdown, vowing that if death would make Seol-ah remember him, he was willing to die. From beginning to end, Soo-ho's love for Seol-ah had a manic edge. When they were dating, Soo-ho had proposed to Seol-ah but was rejected. At that time, Seol-ah had just gotten an internship at an auction house and wasn't ready for marriage. After being rejected, Soo-ho had angrily smashed the ring. After going to Syria, Soo-ho became paranoid, suspecting Seol-ah was fooling around with her male friend, Ah-hyuk. In a fit of anger at the time, Seol-ah had lashed out and told Soo-ho to just die. But she never expected that Soo-ho would take her impulsive words seriously. In the video, Soo-ho declared that if he died, it would be Seol-ah who killed him. As Seol-ah was trapped in fear because of the video, Jun Byum was quietly tying a bellflower to Soo-ho's memorial pagoda. Woo-seok's junior detective checked the dashcam footage, confirming that at the time of the accident, Seol-ah had indeed gone to rescue Woo-seok. Additionally, the junior detective found the license plate number of the mysterious hit-and-run vehicle and the last CCTV footage of it. Woo-seok recognized the mysterious person inside the car as the same person who had attacked Seol-ah in the warehouse that day. Later, Woo-seok and the junior detective split up to search for the black car driven by the mysterious person. They eventually found the target vehicle at a recycling yard and discovered a parking receipt inside it. Coincidentally, the address on it was the building where Jun Byum's company was located. With the clues they found, that night, Woo-seok came to Seol-ah's house with flowers and a gift. Seol-ah was somewhat surprised. Woo-seok explained that he thought the plan for him to pretend to be her boyfriend was still ongoing. Seol-ah didn't refuse. She gave Woo-seok a hug and invited him into her home again. Inside the house, Seol-ah told Woo-seok about the mysterious person sending flowers that day. The box that came with the flowers had "Happy Birthday" written on it. Seol-ah noticed it was written by a left-handed person, and Jun Byum was left-handed. Woo-seok also shared his investigation progress with Seol-ah. Furthermore, as a countermeasure, Woo-seok had taken out a life insurance policy, with Seol-ah as the beneficiary. He believed that if he dangled this bait, Jun Byum would surely take it. But Seol-ah, agitated, tore up the policy. She was very worried about Woo-seok's safety. What if he ended up dead like her previous partners? However, Woo-seok had already fallen in love. He didn't care about life or death, and told Seol-ah to use him however she wanted. To comfort Seol-ah, Woo-seok told her the story of him and his sister. After their parents passed away, only the two siblings were left, relying on each other. His sister was very strong. She was the one who should have been taken care of, but she always worried about her brother. After his sister passed away, Woo-seok was consumed by guilt, believing he had failed to protect her. Woo-seok's honesty touched Seol-ah deeply. She realized that he, like her, was trapped in guilt over a loved one. That night, Seol-ah applied an ice pack to Woo-seok's wound. Woo-seok, overcome with emotion, kissed Seol-ah. Seol-ah didn't resist. As they were about to go further, Woo-seok's colleague suddenly called. The colleague informed Woo-seok that the rescue team leader had just regained consciousness. Woo-seok hurried to the hospital. As expected, the mysterious person had infiltrated the ward and injected drugs into the IV line. Arriving at the hospital, Woo-seok passed by the mysterious person. Finding him familiar, Woo-seok gave chase and engaged in a life-or-death struggle with him. Unfortunately, the person got away. Fortunately, the rescue team leader was unharmed. Woo-seok had made arrangements beforehand, having a colleague pose as the team leader, applying fake skin to his hand, and hiding a phone with an active camera in the ward. After checking the phone, Woo-seok discovered that the mysterious person had escaped without wearing a white coat. Following the trail, Woo-seok found the discarded white coat in a trash can and discovered a lethal drug in the pocket. It seemed the mysterious person had indeed intended to silence him. The rescue team leader was placed in another ward by Woo-seok. The leader revealed to Woo-seok that Jun Beom and Soo-ho were as close as brothers. On the day of the terrorist attack in Syria, Soo-ho died on the spot, and Jun Beom barely escaped death himself. The leader also stated that Soo-ho had ignored the terror alert at the time, seeming intent on dying. Furthermore, Jun Beom had been injured trying to save Soo-ho. However, on that same night, Jun Beom had burned a photo of himself and Soo-ho together. With Woo-seok's help, Seol-ah found the location of Soo-ho's memorial pagoda. She saw that someone had already paid respects with a bellflower. Seol-ah showed Woo-seok Soo-ho's final video. She suspected Jun Beom was targeting her to avenge Soo-ho, aiming to cause her pain. To uncover the truth, Seol-ah hid a camera on her bag and went to meet Jun Beom. Woo-seok waited outside to back her up. A hacker associate was helping Woo-seok find surveillance footage, trying to capture an image of the mysterious person and Jun Beom appearing together. They eventually succeeded in retrieving a frame from footage being deleted, which showed Jun Beom and the mysterious person riding in the same car. Inside the building, Seol-ah got straight to the point, asking Jun Beom why he had given her the painting depicting the Syrian war. Jun Beom replied, because that painting allowed him to glimpse himself without his mask. Seol-ah continued, questioning why. Jun Beom had approached her when he clearly knew Soo-ho. Jun Beom didn't avoid the question. Instead, he asked Seol-ah in return, did she think he was seeking revenge for Soo-ho? Witnessing Jun Beom closing in on Seol-ah, Woo-seok realized she was in danger and rushed desperately towards the woman he loved. The beauty was skilled in enchantment. She had captivated many men, making them utterly infatuated. Some were even willing to fabricate grand lies for her, or even die for her. After investigation, Seol-ah suspected that Jun Beom was approaching her to avenge Soo-ho, so she went to Jun Beom to demand an answer. Realizing that his connection with Soo-ho had been discovered, Jun Beom replied that he was simply curious. What kind of woman had driven Soo-ho to madness? Now, like Soo-ho, he too had met Seol-ah and become deeply enchanted by her. Suddenly, alarms blared inside the company. Soo-ho seemed to recall a traumatic memory from his time in Syria and became visibly panicked. Seizing the moment, Woo-seok took Seol-ah's hand and fled the dangerous place. Later, Jun Beom reviewed the security footage and saw that Woo-seok had triggered the alarm and that it was Woo-seok who had led Seol-ah away from him. Realizing that Woo-seok and Seol-ah were already suspicious, Jun Beom urgently contacted a mysterious person, telling them to go abroad and lie low for a while. Woo-seok showed Seol-ah the intercepted footage, concluding that Jun Beom had instigated the mysterious person to commit murder. Woo-seok planned to proceed as per the operation to lure Jun Beom into his next move. Seol-ah worried that Woo-seok would become the next target of attack, but Woo-seok had fallen head over heels in love. Just having Seol-ah worry about him was enough. That night, Woo-seok went to the hospital to meet the rescue team leader. But when the team leader learned that Jun Beom had attacked him, he could hardly believe it. The Jun Beom he knew was not that kind of person. Woo-seok speculated that Jun Beom might be hiding an unspeakable secret, but the team leader had no clue about it. While investigating Jun Beom, Woo-seok received a commission from the auction company where Seol-ah worked. Some time ago, a certain company president had purchased multiple paintings from the company, but a traffic accident occurred during transport, causing all the paintings inside the truck to be destroyed. Afterward, the chairman of the auction company and the president who bought the paintings colluded to demand a whopping 10 billion won in insurance compensation. After reviewing the accident scene documents, Woo-seok noticed that this art incident bore a strong resemblance to the method of his own sister's car accident a few years ago. Woo-seok suspected that the same person might be behind both incidents and asked his hacker subordinate to track down the whereabouts of the hit-and-run driver. Seol-ah provided Woo-seok with a clue. In fact, she too had her doubts about the art accident. Seol-ah revealed to Woo-seok that these paintings ostensibly came from foreign galleries, but were actually from shell companies. The real owner was the chairman himself. After analysis, Woo-seok and Seol-ah believed that the chairman had insured these artworks, then swapped them for forgeries, and then hired someone to deliberately cause an accident to burn the forgeries. That way, he could pocket a huge insurance payout. Seol-ah's father had also been deceived by the chairman. Back then, the chairman had commissioned Seol-ah's father to paint so-called replicas. Only later did her father realize he had been painting forgeries. This led to a considerable scandal, but the chairman sacrificed his subordinate to save himself, seized Seol-ah's father's final works, and left her father hounded by loan sharks, ultimately driving him to his death. Woo-seok realized that Seol-ah had joined the auction company to avenge her father. Moved by their shared misfortune, Woo-seok resolved to join forces with Seol-ah to uncover the truth behind the insurance fraud case and about Jun Beom. To that end, Woo-seok went to see the former secretary who had been fired by Jun Beom. The secretary told Woo-seok that, after returning from Syria, Jun Beom had changed drastically. He not only fired all the early employees, but also replaced the company's security system. According to the secretary, the security system was custom-made for Jun Beom. It used iris recognition, yet strangely, it could not recognize Jun Beom himself. From this, Woo-seok made a bold guess. Perhaps this Jun Beom was not the real Jun Beom. Seol-ah was also investigating. She asked her friend Ah-hyuk to help collect photos of Jun Beom. Hearing that Seol-ah had already teamed up with Woo-seok and uncovered many things, Ah-hyuk felt a bit jealous. He didn't understand why Seol-ah didn't ask him for help. He didn't like the feeling of Seol-ah relying on other men. This time, with Ah-hyuk's help, Seol-ah found one of Jun Beom's university classmates. The classmate also found it strange. He and Jun Beom used to be close, but after the Syria incident, Jun Beom had never contacted him again. Even when he greeted him proactively, Jun Beom treated him like a stranger. The rescue team leader also thought of a new clue. The organization where he worked kept DNA samples of every volunteer. By comparing the DNA information, they could determine whether Jun Beom was real or fake. Meanwhile, Seol-ah faced another auction event. Jun Beom was invited to attend. At the event, Jun Beom lingered for a long time in front of a painting of an orphan from Syria, as if lost in thought. Woo-seok approached him, deliberately mentioning the rescue team leader to Jun Beom. Jun Beom remained calm as usual, but Woo-seok went a step further, advising him to turn himself in. Jun Beom stayed composed. He had a strong legal team on his side. He didn't need Woo-seok's concern. Just then, Seol-ah seized the moment to walk over, casually handed Jun Beom a glass of champagne. Jun Beom drank it. To his surprise, he suddenly convulsed and collapsed. Seol-ah found a syringe on Jun Beom, promptly administered an injection, then secretly handed the syringe to Woo-seok. Woo-seok took the syringe to the DNA testing facility. On the other side, Seol-ah went to see Jun Beom alone. This time, Seol-ah came straight to the point, asking Jun Beom if he had something to say to her. Jun Beom did not answer directly. Instead, he wanted to take Seol-ah somewhere. Seol-ah took the risk and followed Jun Beom. They arrived at a forest villa. The moment Seol-ah saw the villa, she felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Years ago, Suho had promised her that he would build her a villa in the forest. And the style of this villa, the furnishings in the yard, the trees planted, everything matched exactly what Suho had described. Then Jun Beom finally spoke, saying that every flower and every blade of grass in this villa was his own doing, and that he wanted Seol-ah to be the first to see it. Seol-ah suddenly understood the truth. She called out Suho to Jun Beom's back. At the same time, the DNA test results came out, confirming that the DNA sample from the syringe submitted by Yoon-hee matched exactly the sample of Suho from the organization. Woo-seok was stunned. So Suho was not dead at all. So Jun Beom was Suho. Inside the villa at that moment, Suho turned back slowly, tears in his eyes. Seol-ah's guess was right. He was Suho. Under Seol-ah's shocked gaze, Suho slowly recounted the past. Years ago, after they broke up, Suho had followed Seol-ah to the company where she worked, demanding to know why she had left him. Was it because he had nothing? Seol-ah didn't want to continue the argument, so she just answered casually, going along with his words. Then Suho saw Seol-ah entering an elevator with a rich old man. Heartbroken, Suho went to Syria. To make Seol-ah remember him, he was willing to choose death. But by chance that day, Suho's clothes were accidentally swapped with Jun Beom's. So after the terrorist attack, everyone thought it was Suho who had been killed, and that the injured survivor was Jun Beom. After returning home, with severe damage to his face and vocal cords, Suho underwent multiple surgeries, and was eventually reconstructed to look like Jun Beom. From then on, Suho began to assume Jun Beom's identity. For Suho, his feelings for Seol-ah were a mix of love and hate. To take revenge? To win back Seol-ah's heart, he started plotting to get close to Seol-ah. He even transformed himself into a wealthy man, trying to lure the woman he loved with his riches, vowing to do anything to bring Seol-ah back to his side. Meanwhile, having learned the truth, Woo-seok broke into Suho's house. Finding Seol-ah gone, Woo-seok urgently contacted his junior, ordering him to mobilize the team immediately. After breaking into Suho's house at all costs, Woo-seok saw walls covered with photos of Seol-ah. It turned out that over the years, Suho had been investigating Seol-ah and every man around her. The junior arrived with police colleagues. Seeing the evidence before them, they finally believed Woo-seok's words and prepared to immediately track Suho's location. At that moment, the frenzied Suho tried to force himself on Seol-ah. Seol-ah grabbed a sharp object to defend herself, but Suho was like a madman, saying he wouldn't mind dying for Seol-ah again. As they struggled, the villa's lights suddenly went out. Then Woo-seok and the police arrived at the villa. They saw blood spreading across the floor of the villa. Following the blood, the police and Woo-seok reached the yard, only to find Suho already dead, and beside him, Seol-ah, covered in blood. The beauty hides a secret. All her exes died mysteriously. Tonight, another suitor dies beside her, but even witnessing it with his own eyes, another man risks his life to take a bullet for her, willing to trust her with his life. Last night, Seol-ah discovered that Junbeom's true identity was Suho. As the two argued, the lights in the villa suddenly went out. When the police and Woo-seok arrived one after another, they found Suho already dead, and beside him, Seol-ah covered in blood. A junior officer, convinced Seol-ah is the killer, fires a warning shot and orders her to surrender. But instead of retreating, Seol-ah steps forward toward the gun. At the critical moment, Woo-seok rushes forward to protect Seol-ah, risking his own life. Seeing Woo-seok's arm grazed by a bullet, Seol-ah's eyes fill with even more despair. The police arrest Seol-ah as a flagrant offender. Woo-seok is extremely agitated. He doesn't believe Seol-ah is the killer. Inside the interrogation room, Seol-ah remains silent. Woo-seok eagerly begins investigating the scene and finds glove marks on the villa's electrical box. Clearly someone deliberately cut the power. Following the trail, Woo-seok finds a forest area. On one tree there is bloodstains, and on the ground below, a third person's footprints, obvious signs of a killer fleeing after the murder. Woo-seok brings the DNA test report, informs his former police team leader of Junbeom's true identity, and reminds the team leader that a third person was present at the crime scene. Woo-seok says he will reveal all the evidence he has found, but asks to see Seol-ah first. The team leader agrees, and Woo-seok speaks with Seol-ah in the interrogation room. He is very worried about Seol-ah, asking if she has been eating and sleeping well. Seol-ah's gaze falls on Woo-seok's injured arm. Thinking that another man has been put in danger because of her, she cannot help but cry. Woo-seok presses for the details of what happened that night, but Seol-ah falsely takes all the blame upon herself, claiming she killed all those men, including Junbeom. Then Seol-ah takes off her coat, revealing the burns on her back. Because of this scar, because of the family tragedy she suffered in the past, those men all pitied her. They said they would do anything for her. So she told them to take out insurance policies and then die. Seol-ah begs Woo-seok to stay away from her, otherwise he will be the next to die. But Woo-seok, with red eyes, dresses Seol-ah again. He knows very well that Seol-ah says these things because she is worried about him, because she doesn't want him to become the next victim. Facing such a Seol-ah, Woo-seok begs her to tell the truth, promising that no matter what happens, he will stand firmly by her side. Yet Seol-ah remains stubborn and refuses to say anything. She asks the officer to have Woo-seok leave. She doesn't want Woo-seok to have any further involvement with her. A junior officer suggests to Woo-seok that Seol-ah might just be lying, putting on a performance in the interrogation room to exploit Woo-seok's feelings. Woo-seok disagrees with the junior officer. Just then, a lawyer from the auction company arrives. At the chairman's request, the lawyer presents a resignation letter for Seol-ah to sign. Clearly, to protect the company's reputation, the chairman has no intention of saving Seol-ah. But Seol-ah resolutely tears up the resignation letter and tells the lawyer to inform the chairman that she won't stay in police custody for long. Later, Seol-ah finally confesses the facts to the police. On the night of the incident, after his identity was exposed, Suho became increasingly frantic. Then the lights in the villa went out. Suho told Seol-ah to stay inside while he went out to check. Worried, Seol-ah followed him out a little later, only to see Suho already stabbed by a weapon. The officer asks Seol-ah to provide clues about the third person at the scene. Seol-ah calmly replies that investigating is the police's job. Fortunately, Woo-seok's investigation makes progress. It is confirmed that the blood found on the tree in the forest behind the villa belongs to Suho. In other words, a third person did exist, fleeing the scene covered in blood. Additionally, Woo-seok reminds the team leader to investigate who gave Suho the champagne at the auction event that day. At the time, Suho collapsed after drinking champagne because he has anaphylactic shock, but that drink was not deliberately handed to Suho by Seol-ah. Woo-seok suspects that someone who knew about Suho's allergy did it deliberately to verify whether Junbeom was really Suho. Thanks to Woo-seok's efforts, Seol-ah is released the next day. As she leaves, the junior officer warns Seol-ah not to drag Woo-seok into this any further. Once Woo-seok falls in love, he will throw himself into danger without hesitation. Woo-seok is waiting at the door to pick up Seol-ah. He speaks to her with concern, telling her to learn to protect herself first. Even if she is the killer, Even if she really killed someone, he would still stay by her side without hesitation. Seol-ah doesn't want to implicate Woo-seok and tries to leave, but suddenly faints. Woo-seok rushes to take Seol-ah to his car. Ah-hyuk, who arrives just in time to witness this, has eyes full of uncontrollable sorrow. Woo-seok takes Seol-ah to his home and carefully cooks for her, preparing seaweed soup. Seol-ah falls into a nightmare, seeing a face that keeps switching between Junbeom and Suho. She wakes up with a start and wants to leave, but Woo-seok stops her, saying she can't go until she finishes eating at least one meal. Woo-seok is not good at cooking, but he does his best for Seol-ah. Seol-ah obediently sits down and asks Woo-seok to eat with her. As she eats the warm food, tears stream down Seol-ah's face unbidden. After eating, Seol-ah intends to leave. Woo-seok continues to persuade her to stay at his place for a while, but Seol-ah remains as calm as ever. Now that Junbeom, or rather Suho, is dead, the fake relationship between her and Woo-seok is over. Besides, she feels she doesn't deserve Woo-seok's help, and she doesn't want him to be caught up in her fate. Woo-seok follows her out the door, repeatedly begging her to stay. The real killer is still at large. He cannot let Seol-ah be in danger. Seol-ah continues to say cold, hurtful words. Woo-seok can only gently let go of her hand and watch his beloved leave his protection. He recalls every moment since he met Seol-ah. It seems he will forever love her in vain. Back at the auction company, Seol-ah immediately goes to see the chairman. The chairman is, as always, hugging Seol-ah and offering her fake concern, but then turns around and decides to transfer Seol-ah to a branch office, intending to let his deputy take Seol-ah's position as chief auctioneer. Seol-ah accepts the chairman's arrangement gladly. However, every cloud has a silver lining. She declares that she will fight her way back. Ah-hyuk comes to see Seol-ah, outraged that she has been demoted. But Seol-ah says the timing is just right. She can now take care of personal matters outside of work. That night, Seol-ah goes to a closed fruit shop. Unexpectedly, Ah-hyuk has followed her. Under Ah-hyuk's questioning, Seol-ah admits that she is investigating real estate registered under the chairman's name. She suspects that the authentic paintings used in the chairman and company president's insurance fraud scheme are hidden here. Ah-hyuk checks and finds the electricity meter has stopped, proving the place is uninhabited. To protect Seol-ah, Ah-hyuk decides to help her investigate, even planning to leave with her. For him, without Seol-ah, staying at the auction company is meaningless. Another man, Woo-seok, feels the same. Late at night, Woo-seok stands downstairs for a long time, staring at Seol-ah's home. He wants to call her, but hesitates for a long time. The truth of the case remains shrouded in mist. The police check the cell tower records and confirm that when Seol-ah's fiancé died, Suho's phone signal was not nearby. On the night of Assistant Kim's murder, Suho had left the auction company early. In other words, Suho may not have been the real killer. Additionally, surveillance footage shows that the person who handed Suho the champagne that night was Ah-hyuk's younger sister, So-hae, and the champagne tested positive for peanut powder, which causes Suho's allergy. So-hae lies, claiming she doesn't remember anything, but surveillance confirms that at the company that night, she had followed Seol-ah and Suho. Meanwhile, Woo-seok finally tracks down the whereabouts of Ju, the mastermind behind the car accident that killed his sister for insurance fraud years ago. He sneaks into the building where Ju lives and sees a parcel at the door. After photographing the tracking number, Woo-seok hurriedly leaves. Just then, Ju steps into the elevator. They are about to run into each other. At the last moment, Seol-ah pulls Woo-seok aside. End of episode. Please like and leave a comment.